for a tough finish.
Ball moving. Kyrie late clock situation. This time he got it away and hit it.
This is why the Mavs got worse with the Kyrie trade. It's the NBA. Trades have been flying around every which way like flies over a pile of, There are so many trades going on, so many big names moving around. Let's just make absolutely sure you remember Kyrie Irving got traded to the Dallas Mavericks. Okay, you knew that, but we just wanted to remind you because it feels like a dozen big names have moved around since then. But let's get back to that Kyrie trade. He packed up his things in Brooklyn, relocated to Dallas, Texas, and we're thinking the Mavs got worse. Worse? How do you say this? The Mavericks just acquired Kyrie Irving. Yes, it may seem counterintuitive, but let me explain to you why the Mavs got worse with the Kyrie Irving trade. But first, before we dive in, make sure to like the video and subscribe if you have not already. With all these trades buzzing about, you do not want to miss out, okay? Good, let's get to it. Star over depth. Okay, so the main details of the Kyrie Irving trade. The Nets got some picks to use down the road, and for right now, they got Spencer Dinwiddie and Dorian Finney-Smith. Mavericks got Kyrie Irving. I get it, it's a star-driven league. Your team needs stars and superstars to win games, win playoff series, have a chance at championships, draw fans to the game, so on. So, when you look at it like that, the Mavs traded away to solid players for a great talent in Kyrie Irving, an elite bucket getter. Really, an offensive savant. A defensive... I'll get into that in a bit. But when you think about it, the Mavs have had problems sustaining leads with Luka Doncic off the floor. They haven't had that second punch, that second creator, bucket getter, right? On paper, it makes sense. They definitely need another star. But was Kyrie the right star to get? Maybe they couldn't make a deal with anybody for any other stars and they were flailing and panicking and went for Kyrie. But they raided away some depth. Some good players in Dinwiddie and Finney-Smith. You gain a star in Kyrie, who plays a similar style game as Luka, but you lost the solid pieces around him. As much as you need stars, you need depth. If you are trading away depth for a star, you better make sure that that star is a superstar. You've got to make sure that star or superstar is the answer, that they will be the glue to connect all of the random pieces of your team. They need to be a force multiplier. And if they aren't, if Kyrie is not a force multiplier, like he really hasn't ever been in his career, and if you just traded away two good players, you might be worse off. Two stars, Luka and Kyrie, and then everybody else. But who knows? Maybe Luka and Kyrie's game will mesh. Or will they? Let's talk about the chemistry. Now, on the surface, adding Kyrie Irving to your basketball team seems like a great idea. Look at this guy's game. Look at the moves. Check out his stats. But this isn't fantasy basketball. Moving a guy over to your team does not automatically get you all those stats. He won't easily just slide and fit right in. How is Kyrie going to fit alongside Luka? Now, Luka needs somebody else in Dallas, so it isn't just him. It'd be smart to stagger their minutes slightly so that each one can lead the offense on their own, take control of the ball. But they're going to be on the court together much of the time. The beginning of the game, the end of the game, all the important moments. Luka Doncic is one of the most ball-dominant players in this league. His brand of basketball requires players that can play alongside him. How is Kyrie going to do with a ball-dominant player such as Luka? Some people will point to Kyrie's past teammates who were quote-unquote ball-dominant and had similar games to Luka. LeBron and Harden, namely. They can both be ball-dominant at times and are players who get a lot of assists just as Luka is. Fair point. But Luka is always the number one scoring option on the team. LeBron and Harden, they're much of the time, but they've both shown they can relinquish the reins to somebody else at times. In fact, LeBron differed to Kyrie many a time. Also, if your argument is that Kyrie has played with ball-dominant players before, let's look at how all that turned out. Kyrie wanted out of Cleveland, away from LeBron, forced himself out. And in Brooklyn, that whole team became such a mess. Harden had to force his way out. And we know Kyrie was part of the reason, if not most of the reason. So that's how it's gone with those ball-dominant players. Teams getting blown up. And again, Luka's ball dominance is a little different. He's down in Dallas bouncing the air out of the ball. How are things going to look after the two are together for some time? Is Kyrie going to be getting all the touches he wants, putting up all the shots he wants? Probably not. How far can this new Dallas Mavericks team go? Well, let's take a look at the defense. They say defense wins championships. So, what's this Dallas team winning? A playoff series, maybe? This team just got so much worse on defense. Kyrie is not known for his defense. He never has been. He's Mr. Bucket Getter on offense, and on defense, he's Mr. Hey, I'm here, what more do you want from me? Kyrie landing on a Dallas team with Doncic, also not known for his defense. If you look at the defensive ratings of the new Mavs starting five, most of this starting five is now in the bottom half of the league. Several of them in the bottom third. The best defensive rating of them all is owned by Luka, surprisingly. Again, Luka is so concentrated on offense. He's never been so stout on defense, but he has been stepping it up lately. But to have Luka be the player on your starting five with the best defensive rating, what kind of recipe is that? He may have stepped it up on defense, but if you're relying on Luka's D to take you far into the playoffs, you've already lost. Also, many people predict those numbers of Luka's will drop. Come playoff time, everybody steps it up. Luka will be fixated on offense. You can't expect him to be a lockdown defender as well. Kyrie's defensive numbers aren't terrible throughout his career, but stats and numbers tell one story. When we watch games with our eyes, they tell a story too. No one has ever watched Kyrie play basketball and marveled at his defense. His numbers are probably okay because he has had the luxury of playing with defensive-minded teammates. LeBron, Kevin Love in Cleveland, Kevin Durant known to turn the defense on. How about that stout Boston defense Kyrie played with? What do you think his defensive numbers will look like now that he's on the Mavs? Some people will shout about Kyrie actually being kind of alright at defense. If you're relying on Kyrie's defense to take you far into the playoffs, you too have already lost. So, are the Mavs just hoping to get into shootouts with everybody, win games 150 to 148? And if all that wasn't bad enough, the drama! With Kyrie, there's always the drama. Now, let's preface this with saying we obviously don't know Kyrie. Maybe he's a cool guy to hang out with. We'd never want to take one incident and hold it against someone. That's not fair. But what is fair to say is that Kyrie has had his share of drama over the course of his career. When something happens repeatedly, you can't explain it away so easily. People can tell who you are, but let them show you who they are. Drama follows Kyrie, or Kyrie just creates drama and other craziness at every stop. There was the whole flat earth conspiracy. There was the time he wanted to get traded out of Cleveland. Didn't he threaten to get surgery if they didn't trade him? There was quote unquote promising to stay in Boston before totally copping out and refusing to lead that promising young team. There was that time he told reporters he wouldn't talk to them because he doesn't talk to pawns. As if we're all just small pieces in this big game called life that Kyrie Irving is playing. There was the whole vaccine situation. There was the resharing on social media of the anti-Semitic film. There's been all the times he's demanded his team to do things, trade for players, give him more money. It's a lot. But all of this is a distraction, and a lot of it has caused Kyrie to miss games. Not to mention his injuries also causing him to miss time. The drama is the drama. You can explain some of it away. You can say that's off the court, not on the court. But when new drama is always springing up and it causes him to miss time as some of those situations did, what are you really getting? You're getting a star who might just be there part-time if another controversy arises. A star who doesn't really play defense on a team that already doesn't have it. A star who may command the ball more on a team where the current superstar already owns that ball. And is there any guarantee that Kyrie is going to stay in Dallas any longer than he has to? If this was fantasy basketball and you had Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving on your team, yeah, your team looks pretty good at first glance. But there's more than just the stats, just the numbers. What do you think? Are the Mavs gonna sink or swim? Do they get worse by a lot or just a little? Or do you think this team has potential to make a deep playoff run? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And again, subscribe if you have not already. I would hate to trade you away to another channel just because of the controversy of not being able to click the subscribe button. And to you and yours, stay safe and stay healthy. Keep calm and dribble on.